Welcome to Morning Skate, episode 360. The Islanders got the number one overall pick.
Oh, really? Did it just
literally
happen?
Just happened.
Look
The
at that.
dumbest fucking thing, but honestly, good for hockey. And in terms of the Islanders have been such dog shit for so long, it'll be nice to see how they would be if they had some superstars on the team. So it'll be good for the rivalry with the Rangers.
Next year's the year that is the number one pick. Really makes a difference with that Gavin McKenna kid coming out.
Yeah. I don't know. I turned it on and like when the Rangers won with Lafreniere, like a thing popped up and it was a Rangers ball. And I remember I was eating taco salad on the couch and I was like, yeah. And it fucking went everywhere. And I turned it on tonight and it's like 7-11. And it's not like telling you like anything in terms of your team's going to be okay. It was the dumbest fucking thing. Butch Gross was involved. But episode 360, your host, Ked, joined by my co-host, Brownie. Brownie, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you, man? I'm
good.
I'm glad that the first round's over. This is fucking
it was sick though.
Dude. Oh, it was awesome, but I'm like a fucking walking zombie every morning with these 10 o'clock puck drops, you know?
Yeah, I was kind of worried I wasn't gonna watch any of them, and I ended up watching quite a bit.
I watched more than I thought, but not as much as I wanted to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the Rangers are so lucky they didn't make the playoffs because if they had to play any of the teams like Dallas or Colorado or anybody that resembles any sort of forecheck, like those guys play with such pace. Like our teams would have been so fucked if we had to play those teams. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm all right with it. Yeah, first round's over. We're gonna kind of hop into all that stuff. Before we do, we're gonna talk a little Rangers, I guess, a little Bruins.
I have nothing to say about the Bruins except for go ahead. You do the Rangers.
Well, the Rangers, they hired Mike Sullivan. I guess the writing had been on the wall for a while. They wanted him back when they hired Gallant. Obviously, it wasn't working because he was in Pittsburgh. They hired him like 4 days after him and Pittsburgh mutually parted ways. I listened to a podcast today with Molly Walker, Larry Brooks, and Brian Boyle. Because Sullivan was Brian Boyle's assistant coach and then head coach in Pittsburgh. So it was kind of nice to get some input from an actual professional hockey player. And he was all about it. He said he's good with the guys. He knows how to motivate. He holds people accountable. All the things that I wanted to hear, quite frankly. So
he was Drury's coach too when he was there an assistant.
Yeah.
You think they're going to bring in Torts? Because they're boys.
No, so Torts, I guess, isn't going to come in. But I tweeted at Boyle today. He didn't respond, but I was like, I love the podcast. But and you mentioned Sullivan having Sidney Crosby. Like, how much is having Sidney Crosby being the driver of your bus? How does that correlate with you being a good coach? Like, would Mike Sullivan have the same type of career if he didn't have Sidney Crosby? Now, here's the thing. I'm not even talking about Sidney Crosby on the ice, which obviously is like incredible, right? Like he's one of the best hockey players ever. I'm talking about in the room. I'm talking about teaching, young guys to be pros.
I think that's
very few of those guys on the planet. You know what I mean?
I think that's what separates Crosby, Bergeron, McKinnon, that kind of guy, right?
Well, dude, did you see now that everybody's eliminated? Everybody's eliminated. Now Crosby and McKinnon are going to go play Worlds with Canada. I fucking love that. Same with Fleury. Like Will Cooley made the team, Brett Berard, whatever. But I wonder how much it goes into the fact that like he had Sid.
I'm sure a lot of it, but well, if Sid wasn't there, would it be a gong show? Because then Malkin's your guy, right? And he's notoriously me first. And that's like there could never be a long-standing coach in Washington until Ovechkin started playing an honest game, right? So, yeah. But then look at all the coaches Bergeron had over his time.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Just something to think about. I'm pretty okay with it. I'm not like through the moon. It's just kind of like the jury's out. If he holds the guys accountable that need to be held accountable, I'm totally all for it. He coached the Four Nations where he had a really good moment and a really bad moment. The really bad moment was subbing in Kreider in the final for Kyle Connor, in my opinion, when it's going to be a tight game and you need a goal scorer. Really good moment, putting the Kachucks together. I mean, that definitely united and brought the guys together.
That seems like pretty basic, though.
Some could argue that they should have been together to begin with. But, I mean, they were a goal away from taking down Canada, so
Well, then the flip side of your coin is what the Bruins are doing, as they're hemming and hawing and having press conference after press conference and covering my ass and covering your ass and covering his ass while they still are doing a thorough search on a coach. This feels like the 2015 draft when they're like, they're not going to do anything. Yeah. Fuck you. I'm so tired of Neely and Sweeney. They're now out there covering their asses. Charlie Jacobs is apologizing to the fans, but yet still raising ticket prices again. So they can all go fucking shit in the hat as far as
one of the things that was talked about, Larry Brooks said that Boston had some interest in having Sullivan, but Sullivan wanted nothing to do with the ownership group, which I thought was pretty funny.
I don't blame them. They've raised the prices 13% in the last 2 years.
I don't know if Sullivan's not taking the job because of ticket prices. I feel like there's more.
No, I'm just saying that shows you how fucking out of touch they are, and it's a moneymaker to them. That's it. They own the fucking Garden, so when the Celtics play, they make money too. They don't fucking need to do this.
So you have problems with your owners. I think Rangers fans notoriously have problems with James Dolan.
Yeah, but at least
I talk Rangers Bruins more than any other teams, right? Because those are our teams. Like, do you think other teams around the league kind of have this too?
I would say the Buffalo fans aren't pleased with their owner.
Well, yeah, but like, is Dallas pissed? Like, no, I think Colorado was because of the TV.
How is Dallas pissed? They have the best GM in the league. Look at that fucking guy.
Yeah, I know, but like, do you think just hockey fans are just that's how they are with their owners?
I think that there's a percentage of fan bases that are mad no matter what happens.
Yeah,
and I think there's a percentage of fan bases that are mad based on results. And I feel like, in the not so much anymore, but like when Nashville first got a team, they were cheering icing. They didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Same with Carolina, same with all these Florida teams. But now I feel like most hockey fans are educated enough that they know when someone's pissing on them and says it's raining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe Utah will get away with it for a year or two.
Well, original six, you have New York with the Dolan, you have the Bruins with your guys. Yeah. Chicago had a whole lot of shit go down there. Toronto hasn't won a cup in forever. Detroit just kind of came out with Yzerman and Larkin kind of going at it. Looks like the original six is just we're never happy.
Except Montreal. I will say, Marty St. Louis said all the right stuff you want to hear from your coach after they got bounced.
Speaking of getting bounced, do you have anything else with the Bruins, or you just want to hop into it?
No, fuck them. Let's go.
All right. So this is you're listening to the Morning Skate. If you're listening, you kind of know who we are. I don't know if you saw PK Subban's bracket, where I think he went 1 for 7 or maybe 2 for 6. Like, not well, but
do you know what we did?
First round in the East, Carolina won 4-1. We both picked Carolina. Washington won 4-1. I picked Washington. You picked Montreal. Toronto won 4-2. I picked Toronto. You picked Ottawa. And then Florida won 4-1. I had Tampa. You had Florida. And then the West, Edmonton won. We both had Edmonton. Dallas won. We both picked Colorado. Vegas won. We both picked them. And then Winnipeg won. I had St. Louis. You had Winnipeg. Let's kind of break down each series.
I got some notes for each.
So Carolina, New Jersey, they won 4-1. This could have been a sweep, in my opinion, but we all kind of knew it was happening.
Right?
We all knew it was happening, man. Jack Hughes is out. They had so many different injuries. The fact that they battled. You can't say that they didn't battle, but they were just kind of outclassed by Carolina, and I think everybody kind of knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, so my note for this game is I didn't watch a single second of this series, but I'll bet Brindamore was complaining about a lot of different things.
I like that Jarvis's buddies always go to like the games. They ended up going down.
Look, he's the only reason to watch that team, in my opinion. I did see this isn't really related. I guess it's kind of related to this series. I saw this like someone theorizing that Quinn Hughes only wants to go play with his brothers in New Jersey, and that's why he's kind of torpedoing his time in Vancouver.
There's been a lot of stuff where I think the Vancouver GM came out and said, like, we need to do something before his contract renews. Like, Quinn's already made it clear he wants to play with his brothers. So the Devils are probably going to end up having all three Hughes brothers. The Islanders are going to have the number 1 overall pick, and the Rangers are just going to be stuck with Chris Kreider being their 4th best goal scorer of all time. That's where we're at.
All right, Washington, Montreal.
Yeah, Washington, Montreal. So Washington won 4-1. This is kind of what's funny about hockey. Like, you look at Carolina 4-1, Florida 4-1. I feel like both those teams outclassed the other. The Washington series was turned when Tom Wilson laid out Carrier. Like, it was a back and forth game. There was a big kill. People are fucking buzzing. Then all of a sudden, Tom Wilson goes out there and he's like, "Hey, I'm just gonna make sure you guys all know that like I run the shit." Not the first time he had been involved in the series. He went out with Josh Anderson in the benches, which I thought I haven't really seen a play like that in a really long time.
Not outside of like a movie, right?
Yeah. Washington, I think, obviously was favored. Bell Center was popping off. Montreal's got to be pretty pumped with what they have. They had a goal where like Slavkovsky, Hudson, Demidov, Suzuki, I think they all touched the puck, and I don't know if there's one of those guys that's over the age of 24. So it's like,
and they're supposed to be still in their rebuild. So
yeah,
that was a win for them this whole season.
And then both goalies got hurt one game. I mean, when's the last time that happened in the playoffs?
Yeah.
But Washington, they won 4-1. You had Montreal.
Oh my God, I got so much shit from my friends here for that.
Yeah.
They're like, you really hate Washington that much? And I'm like, yes.
You gotta wear it. Gotta wear it. So they're moving on. Toronto ended up being Ottawa 4-2.
Yep.
I had Toronto, you had Ottawa. This was the classic, like, are you rooting with your heart or are you rooting with your brain? I went brain, you went heart.
So I had to explain to my wife what hate watch meant. She goes, oh, you're watching this game? And I go, I'm hate watching it. She goes, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I like Ottawa, but they got some squids on that team, but I fucking hate Toronto. So I'm rooting against them. So I'm hate watching. Yeah. And she's like, that's sad. I'm like, oh, well.
Brady Tkachuk, big game player.
Yeah, Brady Tkachuk. And did you see that letter from the fan, the open letter to Brady Tkachuk? Did you catch that? A guy who was a season ticket holder that was handed down from his dad wrote this really heartfelt thing to Brady Tkachuk, and Brady Tkachuk made a big statement to the fans and everything. I will say this about Ottawa. I think they kind of galvanized the fans and the team, and Giroux came out and said that was the most fun he's had in his career playing.
Yeah, and Drew's going to be
going nuts to Philly, but
he's going to be a free agent coming up too. So who knows where that.
I could see him signing a 2-year deal with Ottawa.
Yeah, could happen.
And I just think Ottawa. One last thing, I just think Ottawa's a year away, maybe 2. They got
to add a couple other top 6 guys, I think.
Yeah, they didn't have the depth, and I will say, Stützle didn't play like a squid, so I was glad to see that.
He was. I watched him. He flopped a couple times. I'm like, I fucking hate this.
But he didn't get the call, and he stopped. That's what I mean. Yeah.
And then Florida took it to him 4-1. I don't think
I watched
really
all this coming. I fucking watched this with my pants off. I love it.
Those teams definitely hate each other, right? Like,
what do you mean? There's no rivalry.
Yeah. Matthew Tkachuk saying there's no rivalry. The Hagel Ekblad hit, gutty, very very gutty, but that stemmed from Hagel hitting Barkov, then Tkachuk hitting Gensel, and I mean that's a fun series to watch. 4-1 again, crazy, but shout out to Florida, man. They had it. I didn't think that they were going to be able to repeat. I thought it was going to be one of those, everybody, it looks good on paper. There's no way it's actually going to work. Well, I was fucking wrong.
So I have 2 things here. One, Kucherov, for all the talk about, you know how I feel about him. I cannot fucking stand this guy. Yeah. But for all the talk about how great he is, he's a fucking no-show in the playoffs, this guy. I had some stats here. 3 Art Ross seasons, 2019, 2024, and 2025. In his 3 Art Ross seasons, he's 0-13-13. Yes, it's 13 points in 14 games, but you need him to score goals.
Yeah.
Right? And how many of those assists are secondary?
Yeah.
In 2019, swept by Columbus, he put up 2 points in 4 games. 2024, lost to Florida. He had 7 assists in 5. And then this year, he had 4 assists in 5 games played. Just disappears. Yeah. Absolutely disappears. And then my other one for you, I texted you this at one point during the series. All these guys, like these big, tall defensemen, like Brandon Carlo, right? Doesn't fight. The knock on Carlo here for years, but he's fucking soft. He's a pussy. Is Victor Hedman a pussy? Did I just?
Can you hear me? I think I'm on.
I can hear you. I can hear you. He's never been in a fight. He doesn't throw the big hits, and everybody talks about how great he is. But I tell you, no, I'd rather have other guys than him.
He doesn't fight, but he definitely has a physical presence. You can't say that
he has physical presence because he's 7 feet tall.
Yeah,
But does he throw the big checks? Does he line guys up? No.
I don't think he's throwing big hits, but I think he's probably doing a lot of shit in front of the net that you don't see.
He's a finesse guy, and if he didn't have the cups, he'd be called soft.
I would argue that.
Yeah. I just can't stand these teams.
I see that. That's the East. Moving on to the West. Edmonton ended up beating the Kings 4-2. There was a questionable timeout that was taken.
Yeah.
That McDavid Draisaitl show. There was a stat that came out that McDavid and Draisaitl have so many more points than Toronto's core four in about the same amount of playoff games. It's just like, whew.
Shout out Kenton. Kenton's loving this.
Yeah. I called Kenton today. He didn't pick up because I needed a moment for the Oilers, but I found them.
This is his this is their fourth straight first round series that the Oil bounced the Kings.
Yeah. It's tough.
That's tough.
Yeah. That's tough. It's definitely like every year it's like again. It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Dallas, Colorado, in my opinion, was the best series. Dallas ended up winning 4-3. Just top notch fucking that's hockey. Like you want to watch hockey? Like how'd you fall in love with the game of hockey? Watch that series.
I watched Miko
physical goaltending
all over the Colorado team.
Third period hat trick. Like
not only third period hat trick, he had the primary. He had 4 points.
Yeah. I mean, that was just, and then they interviewed McKinnon. He's like, hey, listen, they were down without one of their better forwards, and they
and one of their better
they were missing Heiskanen.
Yeah.
So fucking yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, Nate McKinnon's gonna be like 2 points a game in the Worlds. He's so fucking mad.
His last like 82 playoff games, he has like 120 points. Yes. 119 points. I think he has 50 goals and 59 assists. In his last
so angry when he and a couple other things from this. We all know how Rantanen was traded and came back. Pete DeBoer is now 9-0 in Game 7s, which is insane.
Yep.
And Colorado has lost their last 7 Game 7s. I mean, those two stats kind of go together, but and then
shout out to the girl behind the bench.
Yeah,
gotta give her kudos.
And the other thing, how great was it to see Landeskog score that goal? It was like 3,000 days or something.
It was cool. That was cool. And like the handshake line where they're all like, hey, really happy that you're proud, or wait, we're happy that you're back, proud of you, shit like that. Just hockey.
Well, man. Bednar said he came back and he went down to the AHL for like 3 games or something like that. And then he came back and Bednar was like, I don't understand it, but I can put him out there like I used to. He hasn't dropped off at all.
Yeah, that was. Did you see the one dude who dressed like Bednar behind him?
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Vegas, Minnesota. This was one I didn't really watch a lot of. Vegas ended up winning 4-2. I know that they were tight games. Fleury ended up getting in for a little bit, and he was mic'd up. I thought that was funny.
Bye to the flower.
They interviewed Zook afterwards. Asked him if he was injured. And he's like, I'm 37. You know, I'm gonna hurt. I only got a puck to the balls this year, so I guess it's not that bad, which I thought was hilarious.
He had a couple of unbelievable plays in the game. I watched one game.
So good, dude.
There was one game he made like 4 like ridiculous passes. I will say Minnesota's in a similar
Ottawa.
One of my buddies, just the little group I have, we're always texting during Bruins games. I guess he's watching the lottery right now. He goes, Bruins dropped to the 7th pick. They even suck in the draft lottery. It's the most Boston Bruins fan statement ever there. I will say that Minnesota is very similar to Ottawa. I feel like they're a year and a couple of players away.
A couple of good young pieces. You got Boldy, you got Faber, Kaprizov, obviously.
Right.
You got some good players there. But
but like I'm saying, they're just 1 or 2 guys in a year's away, right?
But I feel like it's the Ottawa because it's so new, but Minnesota's been in the same fucking boat, kind of just like the Kings.
Well, they were in a
playoffs every year.
They were in a super shitty cap because of Suter and
Parise,
Zach Parise, right, and they're out of that finally, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Vegas. I mean, Vegas has some beasts up front, man. Hurdle, Stone, fucking.
Fucking's the back end of Vegas. No one can touch that.
Eichel, Dorofeyev or whatever the fuck his name is. They just got good pieces in Nathan Hill.
And I love every time I was watching Vegas, whoever the fucking dunce was on the color was like, Jack Eichel's not doing anything, Mark. And then all of a sudden, and they score. You know what I mean? It's like, shut up, just stop talking.
Classic.
Yeah.
Winnipeg, They ended up winning 4-3. This game was sick. You watch a game last night? It was
Oh, yeah.
unbelievable.
Watched the whole thing.
That again, why do you like hockey? That game.
1.8 seconds left.
It's such a sick game.
So for those that didn't watch, the St. Louis Blues had a 2-goal lead with less than 2 minutes to play in regulation. Winnipeg pulled their fucking goalie and tied it, scored one to get within one with about a minute, and then scored the second with 1.8 seconds left in regulation. Then played another whole 20 before they finished it late in the second overtime.
Well, I'm talking. So I was playing Chow last night. I was talking to the boys, and Hellebuck had a terrible series again.
I got some stats, but keep going.
Super shaky.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there. I'm like, you know what, man? Like, he hasn't played well, but if they come back, man, that building's rocking. He makes a couple big saves in overtime, and then nobody's probably going to really end up talking about it. Like, that's pretty much exactly what happened. Now, will Winnipeg go on a cup run? Who knows? But if they were to go on a cup run, like, they always do like a 30 for 30 or like a documentary about whatever team. That first round for Winnipeg is like storybook 30 for 30. Like,
oh god, yeah.
Struggling with goaltending, Scheifele goes down, physical series, back and forth. Hellebuck dials it in when he needs to dial it in. They get the job done. They're moving on. This one, I mean, I took St. Louis because Hellebuck, we did it every year. This is the year. Kudos to you, Brownie, for sticking with him for the last fucking.
I didn't want it to be the one I picked. I was like, God damn it. So a couple things here. So
Bennington's a gamer too, by the way. That guy is
he's a loser.
Gamer.
The first NHL game in Winnipeg history. So shout out to the, what do they call it? The whiteout for showing up, and the costumes that people wearing are fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude. And like during like the power play and overtime, they were standing. Everybody was
not only that
standing.
But did you notice they were quiet when the puck was in the Jets' defensive zone, and then loud as fuck? That's great. That's great, hockey fans. So a couple other things about Hellebuck here. So go maybe with like 3 minutes left in the game, I was like, are they going to deal Hellebuck in the offseason? If they had lost that game, would Hellebuck, because you could have got a haul for him, right? Yeah. So I dug around a little bit. So this is his last 3 years numbers. Regular season 2023 regular season 2.49 goals against, 920 save percentage, right? Playoffs 344 goals against, 886 save percentage. Out in the first round. Last year 239 goals against, 921 save percentage, regular season. Playoffs 523 goals against and an 870 save percentage out in the first round. This year, regular season, 2 goals against and a 925, like even better. Well, last year was when he won the Vezina. He's probably going to win the Vezina this year also. He should win the Vezina this year with those numbers. So in the playoffs, 4.42 goals against, more than double, and 815. That's more than a full point down in save percentage. It's crazy. But my question to you is this. He's made it through the first round now.
Yep.
Something he hasn't done.
Yep.
Is it like, oh shit. And
I think you almost saw that in the third period, dude.
He might be absolutely fucking lights out now, and Dallas could be in trouble.
Now, flip side.
Go ahead.
Dallas wins the cup this year. I'm starting Onger in the playoffs. Dallas? Or not playoffs, in the Olympics.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, right, and Four Nations, that had nothing to do with Hellebuck. Like, it was like McKinnon screenshot goal, McDavid's going to McDavid, but you look and see what he does in high pressure.
This is going to be a great series because of the goalies.
Yeah.
I don't know. Remember, we've talked to Fink about this. I don't know how much Ottinger played this year because I don't follow Dallas that closely, but I can look it up while we're talking, actually, because that's another issue. If Ottinger has a lot of games played and he, at some point, the cliff's coming for him because it's historic, you can track it, Yeah. Let's see here.
It's going to be a 6 series.
It is going to be a 6 series, but Ottinger he had 58 starts this year, which is the most he's had in 3 years. So that doesn't bear so great for Dallas. That makes me pick Winnipeg. I'm telling you right now. Then my other thing, two other things for Winnipeg for this series. St. Louis is one of those teams like Carolina. Like it's like saying, "What's your favorite ice cream?" It's vanilla. They're just not. You know what I mean? They're kind of boring.
I love the way they play though, dude. Like they're heavy. Like for some reason they're fucking heavy. They forecheck, dude. They have this.
They do forecheck. I feel like they're
Korobchenkov or whatever.
Yeah.
That guy looks like Matt Rempe skating, but all he wants to do is get pucks deep. Like that, dude. And like they have Kyrou blocking shots. I think Robert Thomas is one of the most underrated players in the league. Buchnevich is still a good player.
Yep.
But St. Louis, like these other ones, like where is that secondary scoring? Where like I feel like a lot of these teams in the playoffs don't have like the top six that you normally see from a team. You know what I mean?
And then the only other thing I had about this, it was great to see Claude Lemieux still behind the bench. But I do like to see that Montgomery hasn't changed up his strategy when the game's slipping away. He's just staring into space.
Wait, Claude Lemieux?
Not Claude Lemieux. Sorry. Why am I
Steve Ott?
Claude Julien.
Oh, Claude Julien. Okay.
Fuck Steve Ott. Steve Ott's a fucking rat.
Well, let's make our predictions here. So second round, we got Washington, Carolina. Washington home ice advantage. I think the game's already going on right now.
No, Toronto's tonight.
Oh, today's Monday. I'm an idiot. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a challenge. The Hurricanes are definitely better than the Canadians. The Capitals are definitely better than the Devils. I think that this one, to me, I think is going to be special teams. I think whatever team shows up better on the power play, penalty kill, I think those are going to be the teams that kind of take it to it. Carolina's a super heavy forecheck team. They get pucks deep in. They play hard for their coach. Where Washington, I think they probably have a little bit more grit and glamour. They've been around it a little bit more. They have a little bit more experience, right? And I'm pretty sure didn't Ovechkin knock Svechnikov out cold in a fight in the playoffs like years ago?
Yeah, that was a few years ago. Yeah.
So they played each other. I think it's going to be good. Now I'm looking at Tom Wilson. Who's going to be able to handle Tom Wilson on the Carolina Hurricanes? I don't know. I think this is another series where Wilson can completely flip it upside down. Is Sebastian Aho gonna get frustrated? Like it just, I'm taking the Caps. I'm gonna take the Caps in 6.
All right, all that you said, I'm taking Carolina.
Of course you are. Toronto, Florida.
Toronto. Well, to be fair, I'm probably not going to watch a second of this game, that series either.
I'll watch like the Ovechkin goal, like highlights.
Highlights, yeah.
Toronto, Florida. Toronto has the home ice advantage. They start tonight at 8:00. Florida in like 5. I feel like Toronto Toronto on paper should have killed the Senators, and they let the Senators kind of hang there. And Florida has way more depth than the Senators do. Arguably better goaltending, at least playoff wise, with Bobrovsky. He's a different animal. I feel like
styled right now too.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Florida in 5.
Yeah, I would take Florida in 3 if it was possible. Let me ask you this too: what's the weakest part of Toronto's team?
I mean, their big guys have to step up to me.
What's the weakest part of their team? Like, if you look at their roster on paper, what's the weakest part of their team?
Probably defensively, I would think.
Right. And who comes at you like a fucking buzzsaw is the Florida Panthers. Yeah. They're going to fucking demolish these guys. And I cannot wait to see Ty Domi get his fucking head caved in.
Max Domi?
I can't stand him. Max Domi, whatever. I can't stand either one of them.
I know you hate the Leafs, but there is a Maple Leaf that has really fucking impressed me. This Matthew Nice kid.
Yeah.
Boy, he works fucking hard. He's got a fucking motor and can fly. Like, holy shit, I'd take him on my team. I didn't know he was that fucking good.
So you remember we talked a long time ago, like a parking lot discussion, like jerseys, a current guy and a former guy. Matthew Nye's niece, whatever, however you say his name, he'd be the only Leaf that I would get his jersey off the current team.
He's fucking sweet, dude. He's a gamer.
Good player. Yep.
Western Conference, Vegas, Edmonton. Yep. I'm going to take Edmonton just because I think there's that storybook ending of Connor McDavid's perfect, Sidney Crosby's perfect. We'll see. Now that Colorado's out, I might have
Yeah,
Edmonton
it blew
make
up
the
my
thing.
whole Western Conference when
Yeah.
Colorado got eliminated. I'm pulling for Edmonton because I love watching McDavid play. Kenton's a great guy, and hey, Trent Frederick's out there, so let's see if he
Vegas is
can
tough though.
run
Like
around.
let's
Oh yeah,
not get
Vegas
too
is great to watch. That's
Yeah.
going to be a great series.
Yeah, that'll be a fucking top notch. If they can limit McDavid and Draisaitl's, moments, they're in it, and they have the guys to do it. So,
Well, the matchup is Pietrangelo and Theodore versus McDavid and Draisaitl. Really, that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, it's going to be good, and I think also goaltending. Like
for sure.
For Edmonton, it's always goaltending. If Edmonton had goaltending, they probably would have like 1,000 more cups. But they haven't had a goalie since fucking
just
Cujo or Grant Fury. Cujo didn't play for the Oilers. Who am I thinking of? Who was like the Oilers?
Grant Fury.
But after him, and he wasn't bad.
Bill Ranford?
Bakov. It wasn't Kiprasov. For some reason, I thought they had a Russian. I'll have to look into it. Winnipeg, Dallas. This one, I'm Dallas. I'm going to take Dallas, but this is one where I think, bruises are going to carry on to the next series. This, regardless of how many games this goes, they're going to beat the shit out of each other. And I'm down for that. I can't wait to watch that. I have Dallas winning, but it's not going to be the same Dallas team that you see right now.
So, Fink, if you're listening, I love you. One of my favorite guys that I've met through Morning Skate. With that being said, I'm going Winnipeg. I'm sticking with the horse. What is it? Taking whoever I brought to the dance home. And Winnipeg, plus, this is the Colin Miller revenge series. Colin Miller's still playing. He's out there in Winnipeg. I just love Winnipeg's whole vibe. I really do.
I wish they had better jerseys. I was talking to my buddies about it yesterday. I wish they had cooler jerseys, and I would have been way more.
That logo's really cool. I love their logo.
I don't like their home jerseys.
The blue, the dark?
The dark blue. Yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of it.
I just like it because it's the white out, and they're all in blue. I just think it's cool.
All right, so I'm taking Dallas. You're taking
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg. Yeah. We're both taking Edmonton.
Yep.
I'm taking Florida. You're taking Florida. I'm taking Washington. You're taking Carolina. So we have a couple differences.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, we have a couple different. Yep.
All right. I mean, it's been fucking that. As much as I wish the Rangers were in the playoffs, it's kind of nice to watch playoff hockey and not like have the worst anxiety of all time.
Anxiety, right?
Yeah. Like I'm just kind of. It's like, oh, dude, that fucking Blues Jets game last night. I'm like, thank God this isn't one of my teams.
Oh my God! If that was the Bruins, I would have had a heart attack. Another heart attack.
Terrible.
We both went 5 out of 8 in the first round.
No, I better than ESPN's head analyst. So
yeah. And mine, I think both of us. Like, you go back in time, I don't think you would have picked Tampa Bay.
I would have. Tampa Bay is a fucking great team, dude.
I get it. But like, I look at it and I'm like, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't have. If I could separate my anger from these teams, I would have picked Toronto over Ottawa.
I would have. I'm trying to see if I would have even have changed anything. I would have taken Tampa. The Winnipeg one fucked me a little bit.
Yeah, you were ride or die with Winnipeg the last few years with me.
Yeah. Well, it's what it is. I have one other thing I want to talk about.
I have a few other NHL stuff that's floating around, but go ahead.
So Sam Rosen retired from the Rangers.
Saw that.
Huge thing. All these teams doing everything for him.
Hangs him up. The other guy? Go ahead. Sorry.
That's where I'm getting. So Joe Micheletti is partner for the last 19 years.
Isn't Joe Micheletti been just there? Oh, 19. Sorry.
19 years.
I keep interrupting you.
So he had his mind up that he was going to retire, and he didn't say a fucking word the whole year. He made it all about Sam. In a world where there's a lot of really shitty things happening, and it doesn't seem like a lot of things are getting better, this guy is first team all class. That was one of the coolest fucking things I read about. Like, it was initially I was like, damn, like he's not going to do it with Sam. But then I think it was Howie Rose came out and said like, hey, he knew about it all year. Same with Brian Boyle. And he didn't say a word to fucking anybody. And kudos to those guys. It is going to be so wildly different watching the Rangers moving on. I don't know who's going to join Kenny Albert, but people are saying Dave Maloney, which would be really funny. He's the radio guy that just freaks out whenever they score.
Oh, he'd be good then. Hey, listen.
We haven't had a homer in a while. Like, I think Sam and Joe are always very down the middle. Like, it'd be kind of nice to have a homer. I don't know if it's going to happen. Brian Boyle's his name's been tossed around, and so has Ryan Callahan. So
Callahan's good. I like Callahan.
I think I'd rather have Boyle.
I've
I've
never heard
listened to
Boyle.
Callahan do like ESPN and shit like that, and they've had Boyle between the glasses. It's not like I respect Boyle more. I don't know. I value what he has to say because as a big guy who didn't have a ton of skill, carved a fucking great career out. A role player, a guy you want on your team on the fourth line, penalty killing, blocking shots, sticking up for teammates. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but shout out to Joe Micheletti. I thought that was like the coolest fucking thing ever. Like,
yeah, so
that was the coolest thing that's happened since we've done Morning Skate Hero of the Week for me, I think.
I saw that story, and have you seen? There's some commercial where it's a bunch of younger guys, and they're talking about the guy who always gets the assist. Have you seen that commercial where like they're doing like rock paper scissors? Who's playing for beer, and he's behind the other guy, and he's like, throw rock. And then there's another one where like the dog is looking at him while he's eating his sandwich while they're all together, and he gives the dog a piece. And then like the guy picks up a beer that's leaving rings, and he puts a coaster down. And then they're playing like pickup, and he's like feeding for tap ins, and they're like, be the assist guy. I forget what it's about, and that's all I can think about was with Micheletti. Just yeah, it was that. It's class. He's not going to take it away from his partner. Yeah.
And like 19 years, it's not like he was there for a cup of coffee. That's a long fucking time to be with an organization.
Yeah.
But he knew Sam had been there longer, and he wanted him to get his fucking, good graces with everybody. So I thought that was just tremendous.
So is that your hero? That was your hero?
That was just something I want to talk about. Yeah, hero. I mean, and what's weird, I've always kind of been 50-50 on Micheletti. This year, like now looking back and knowing that he knew he was going to hang him up, the way he talked about the Rangers, which was the best that he's done. Like, but in the past, I think he kind of stuck up for them way more, where this year he called it how it was. Like, I can't tell you how many times he was like, the Rangers defense is a travesty. Like, just like stuff like that. And it's like, wow, Joe's really fucking going for the throat this year, dude. Makes sense.
So the only other things that I had was I don't know if you saw that the Islanders are parting ways with Lou Lamoriello.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was kind of a big news, especially now they get the first pick. Maybe they're going to let this kid grow his beard.
Lamb before time.
Yeah,
the dinosaur.
And then the other things I have oh boy, I have like a few negatives here. So my heroes are Kenny Albert and Sean McDonough. And the reason they're my heroes is that Kenny Albert has to work with fucking Ed Olczyk, and Sean McDonough has to work with Ray Ferraro, because these two fucking donkeys clearly get paid by the word and won't stop talking about their own fucking careers. I am so tired of these guys talking over the play-by-play to tell an irrelevant story from 1978. Like, shut the fuck up and
I'm
let
out on
McDonough
speak. But in on the other guy, in on Kenny.
Just it's the color guys that are driving me crazy. And listen, I love them too, but Biz, you're starting to make it a little too much about yourself and not about the fucking game. So I understand you've carved out this great career, and I respect it, and I think you're knowledgeable, but fucking dial back the nonsense a little bit.
I think some of that
every time.
I think TNT is kind of also playing into that.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, because like, dude, when he did like his Leafs parade, like glitter came from the ceiling.
Like what did we do?
Like, yeah, but I don't think that's all him. It's not like all.
No, I'm sure it's not, but he can also say no.
Yeah,
and
but he loved the Leafs. I'd be doing the same fucking thing if the Rangers were on there and I was there.
And while we're on this little train here, PK can get shot into the sun too. Jesus Christ, what does he fucking bring to the table? If I want to watch someone rate the guy's fucking suits walking in, I'll watch fucking Bravo or E. I don't need to watch that on fucking hockey coverage.
Yeah.
And I could be the old guy screaming at the clouds here, but I don't give a fuck who wears what walking into the game.
I agree with that one.
So whatever. And then my last thing, this is just something I saw today, and I was like, oh, we're doing the podcast tonight. Perfect. I don't know if you saw the story. This is just one random fucking loser. There was this 27-year-old Chinese student living in Japan. Okay. He decided to climb Mount Fuji. He got to 30,000 feet and had to be airlifted out of there due to what do they call it? Altitude sickness. Makes you disoriented, all kinds of issues. Airlifted, which is a lot of people at 30,000 feet. They're putting their lives on the line, getting you out in a helicopter, right, to save your life. Yeah. This fucking jackass 4 days later went back up there to get his phone and his stuff at base camp and had to get fucking rescued again. So right there, if I was on duty, and Jenkins, you can attest, if I was on duty and I had to go back up there in the airlift, I would have just hit the kid in the head with a hammer and been like, we couldn't find him in the snow.
Okay. All right. Well, he doesn't mean that.
But he's risking the lives of all these people.
Yeah.
It's a fucking phone.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I
got negative there at the end. Just all that stuff I saw in the last few hours. Then I started thinking about Eddie Olczyk talking about, this time at the horse track, me and fucking Wayne Gretzky. Shut up, dude. Oh, can't stand them.
Close it out, Brownie.
Well, yeah, if you're wondering who had control of the Twitter for the morning skate that said shut up, Ed, so you can probably guess who it was.
Yep.
So the second round starts tonight. We got Toronto and Florida. And then the other two, Vegas is tomorrow night. Winnipeg is Wednesday, and Washington's tomorrow night too, I believe.
Yep.
I don't have the betting lines, but I'd say they're all pretty tight.
Should be good, man. Only 12 more wins till somebody. I
saw that. So we both had Colorado winning the cup. Who are you picking?
All right. So I thought with my brain, the first.
Yep.
But I'm going with my heart. I think it's McDavid's year, dude.
All right. I had Colorado, Florida, so I'm just going to pick Florida now.
And Evander Kane's back and playing like a menace. Like, that's huge for them. Trent Frederick, Hyman.
Talk about secondary scoring. That's the definition of it, a guy like that.
And he was banged up bad last year. It'll be nice to we'll see. I mean, dude, in Edmonton, Washington, with them going at Wilson would be fucking fun. Same with Florida with Kachuk. Like,
can you imagine it gets to a final and it's Edmonton. I mean, it's like Winnipeg or one of these guys, and they're like, "Hey, Buff."
Yeah, I missed Dustin Bufflin.
Game 7.
How you sign off to Iginla? That's how I want to sign off to Dustin Bufflin.
All right. Well, hey, best of luck out there with your teams. Hope everybody wins. And if you're up in Calgary, give Jerome a hug because the Flames are a ways away. So
a little bit. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll get back to you guys soon, but in the meantime, just watch as much hockey as you can. Follow us on everything that you can follow us. Morning_skate. Yeah, that's all we got for you. So thank you and be kind. That's for you, Brownie.